Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Freedom Report podcast. I'm your host, Leif Peterson, Liberty Champion, and I'm here today with a very special guest. He's the newly elected third vice chair of the Maryland Republican Party, Eugene Craig. Eugene, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, Eugene, congratulations on your victory. So let me just come right out with it. What's it like running as a black Republican?
It's interesting. There are some expectations. There are some expectations that are not necessarily applied to other candidates. But it was a fun experience. Nerve-wracking to say the least. I went through 8 cups of water in the 15, 20 minutes in which the vote was taking place during the nomination speeches and whatnot. But, we pulled out a victory in the end.
All right. Well, that sounds great. I mean, you're a Republican, and a lot of times people think of the Republican Party. They say, "Oh, it's a racist party," and then you got people like Mia Love, and you got Tim Scott, and you got people like yourself, kind of making waves. Orlando Watson over there at
good guy.
Senator Paul's office. Excuse me. I guess he's at the RNC.
RNC now. Yep.
That's right. All right. Well, then here's the thing. I want to talk about the issues that are important in the American community. I want to talk about the issues that are important in the black community. Let's talk about right now the issues that are of major importance to the American community and the black community specifically. What's going on with the ongoing racial strife that we have now with the grand jury decisions of Garner and Brown? What was your take when you saw these? I know you probably separate the two because they're kind of different cases, but you're more of a civil libertarian on things. So I'm curious what your take is on these two issues.
I think I guess my thoughts on it. I think the Mike Brown situation. The analogy I like to use is that it was the match that was thrown on top of a entire barrel of gasoline from years of no justice or action being taken on a particular issue. Do I think there should have been a trial? Yeah. I do think there are some facts. There's, I think anytime you have conflicting witness testimony, it needs to be sorted out. And it should be sorted out by a jury rather than a grand jury. That's just my personal, not professor, I'm not a lawyer, but that's my person outside looking in, opinion. When it comes to the Eric Garner case, there should absolutely have been a charge. I don't care if we're going to talk to semantics, technicalities. That was a chokehold by any stretch of imagination. And, there should have been at least a involuntary manslaughter charge brought back. And I think, as long as we continue to see situations like this, there's still going to be protests on civil disobedience. I don't agree with the looters or rioters by any stretch. But I do agree with the protesters. They're out there for a reason. And, they're going to be out there until there's some action taken to remedy these situations.
Good to know. Good to know. Now, Republicans and Democrats are taking turns today thrashing Jonathan Gruber on the Hill. But I'm just, I just want to know, do you think this is all for show?
I think it's part show, part substance. I do think at this point in time, efforts could be better suited on, actually nipping away at the actual Affordable Care Act. Finding ways to actually get some wins in repealing parts of it, rather than grilling this guy. But I do think this gentleman Gruber, he does know some things that the public and Congress does need to know. I mean, as the architect of Obamacare, as one of the primary mouthpieces of Obamacare, as a guy that laid out, the framework for it, he's one of the few people that probably understands fully how it works, inside out. So, I do think it's, part show but part, substance.
There was a new economic report that was issued today that showed as the minimum wage rises, employment among low-skilled workers goes down, meaning that there appears to be a correlation between the amount of people who have jobs and how high the minimum wage is. So my question to you is, Eugene, knowing that the minority community generally overwhelmingly would support a minimum wage, are those voters as stupid as Mr. Gruber likes to say?
Absolutely not. You go to any major city right now, and you'll see, especially cities that are progressively raising their minimum wage, you'll see that people are fed up with the economic factors that are contributing to their lives. They're fed up with the lack of jobs, and people are waking up. You know, seeing raising the minimum wage sounds pretty good on the surface. We have to concede that and agree with that. But it's the actual effects of it that hit that are the hard hitting reality. And I think a lot of people are starting to see that hard hitting reality. And quite frankly, I think most people would rather be paid, what they're worth and what they perceive to be the value of their work is worth, rather than some arbitrary number that some government official decided they should be paid.
All right. So yeah, that's obviously that's exactly the kind of answer you would expect from any sort of typical Republican. And I honestly probably asked you one of the most difficult questions I've asked anyone there in the way. So I congratulate you on that. No,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'd like to talk to you about the biggest issue in the world right now, bigger than the CIA torture report, which we'll get to in just a moment. What did you think about the news that Diddy beat Drake and sent him to the hospital?
You know what? I guess it's over.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Sean Puffy Combs is on his way down. Drake's on his way up.
I'll say this. I think Puffy's always going to be around. He for some odd reason he has staying power. Although I can't name an artist that has had the staying power that he has outside of Biggie. But somehow, some way, he finds ways to, always reinvent himself and make himself valuable to the marketplace. Drake is, Drake is still somewhat of a newcomer to the game. He's been around a couple years and whatnot, but
started at the bottom.
Now he's here. He went from 0 to 100 real quick, but at some point in time, there are, moral code and ethics, and, although you're a superstar, you still have to abide by, at least some kind of honor among men.
All right, but I want to get you on the record. Team Diddy or Team Drake?
Oh, man. Wow, that's harsh. Team Diddy or Team Drake? You know what? I'm going to go with Diddy Dirty Money on this one. Drake is out here, just saying, he's the real Mr. Steal Your Girl. So I'm going to go with Diddy on this one.
Okay, well, I've been on Team Diddy, but been getting a lot of crap from my fans because I'm a big Drake fan, and I tell you.
Don't worry, I love Drake. I get a lot of pushback from the boys. They say you have a nice little soft spot if you're a big fan of Drake. And all the nice little singing and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm a Drake fan. I can post some Drake.
Got a date?
Go to we'll have a little C. Maybe throw a little kickback at CPAC and play Drake's greatest hits or something.
All right, that's still good. All right. So this is good. Let's bring it back to the issues because I want to talk about a very serious issue that came out today. Republicans are sort of circling the wagons around the defense community today. We have the military is on high alert because we're worried about what could happen when we release this CIA torture report, as if suddenly Islamic terrorists aren't going to want to kill our troops more. Right? So what did you think? What do you think initially? I know there's 500 pages that just came out today. You couldn't have read it all, but I read quite a bit about it this morning. Pretty shocking allegations against our intelligence community. What's your take?
I will say, while there are some new things there are some things that, a lot of this is not really new news. It's just now it's been it's deemed it's official and it actually happened. I do care for the safety of our armed forces and the military, and I do think we should expect high alert and high threat levels whenever something like this kind of information is confirmed, deemed confirmed by a governmental agency or whatnot. But for the record, a lot of this, the rendition programs and the torture that went on, it's been public knowledge for a very long time. There's been whistleblowers. Blowing the whistle on this from the early stages of it. Most people suspected Dick Cheney to be lying, but I will say that most of it's already been public knowledge. There are some new things, some new gruesome things that we're finding out, but at the same time, I think it's now a point where we move forward. Now we can reestablish ourselves in the world.
Well, the guy who wrote these torture memos, a guy by the name of John Yoo, he's come out very hard against a good buddy of ours, a guy by the name of Senator Rand Paul.
Yeah.
There's this sort of civil war going on in the Republican Party between people who believe in a bit more robust national defense, even perhaps when it tramples on civil liberties. And then the more libertarian Republicans, like the Rand Pauls, who have been more critical of overreaching militarism, rampant militarism, I think that he's called it. Certainly I would call it. But I want to know, where do you come down on that side of things?
I think, I'll play this. If we are attacked, I think we have every right and responsibility to go after the people that attacked us. One of the primary roles of government, even unlimited government, is to protect and defend the American citizens. That's one of the few things that only something as big as a government can do, maintain a huge army like that. But, do I think we should go out seeking out, battles just for the sake of battles or whatever reason? Absolutely not. But when it comes to actual defense, I'm all for, hey, you bomb us, we blow your whole country up.
Okay, question. So here's one thing I want to ask then. When it comes to the balance between liberty and security, is it a balance or is it a bias in favor of freedom?
I think it's definitely a bias in favor of freedom. You shouldn't, founders, you shouldn't trade your liberty for security, because at the end of the day, you will lose both. And I honestly believe that you can only be truly secure when you are free. Because the responsibility falls on you rather than someone else. Now, granted, there are some things that only a government can do. I do think they should have some tools, but there needs to be very, very hard oversight. There needs to be lines drawn with these tools. NSA should not be, snooping in on this call right here just for the fact that they want to snoop in on the call. But if there is a real threat, there should be no reason that you can't go down to the local federal, courthouse and get a warrant, an actual search warrant. I think part of the issue is that, with the issue around the FISA courts and, these roving warrants and, some of these agents writing their own warrants, is that the majority of time, that these warrants are being issued or that, they want to snoop and whatnot, it's not for terror, it's not to prevent terrorism. I think Rare had an article that came out that said, something like 3,300 of these cases were drug-related cases, and like 17 were actual terrorism cases. And I think that's an issue. That's a major issue.
So what's your take then on the war on drugs?
I think the war on drugs should be ended tomorrow. Today, the next second if need be. Save a couple $100 billion. I'll like this. I'll tell you this. You want to do a project or something? All right, let's take the money out the war on drugs. You can fund that project. That project you wanted. But I think the war on drugs, hurts communities. It justifies in growth in government and unjustifiable growth in government, especially when it comes to police force. And I will say this: a lot of what you're seeing with racial profiling, a lot of what you're seeing with interaction between African American community and the police, a lot of what you're seeing with the militarization of the police, a lot of what you're seeing that which kind of contributed to the whole Eric Garner and Mike Brown situation is a result of the war on drugs.
Absolutely. That's Eugene Craig. Now, Eugene, you're an up-and-comer in the Republican Party. On the lower levels, perhaps for now, but we see a bright future for you. We hope you stay honest and you stay true to these principles that you say you believe in today. We'll check on you.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll check on you in 10 years when you're in the United States Senate.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations on your victory, Eugene. We'll look forward to seeing you around the events in the D.C. area. Take care.
Definitely appreciate it.